Shalom, 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 Israel, right? I want to open up and I want to say, Call, Halal, Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Shah, Barakatah, Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Shah. Right, so today to the Spirit, we will be diving into the image of Christ, right? What did Jesus Christ look like according to the scriptures? Right, we're going to start off in the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 1, right? The revelation of Jesus Christ, right? So, Revelation, specifically the first chapter, this is dealing with the revelation of Christ. The word revelation, the root word is to reveal. All right, let's just see what the word reveal means, right? So, Salakia. Let's see what this word reveal means. Make known to others, right? Previously unknown or secret information, right? So this chapter in particular, really the whole book, is Christ, revealing himself, right? This is the revelation of Jesus Christ, right? So we're gonna jump down to verse 14, right? Revelation 1 verse 14. This is the physical description of Jesus Christ, right? Revelation 1 verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool. Right? So Christ had hair like wool, right? The texture of wool is thick and curly, right? Christ had hair that was thick and curly, right? As white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Right? So Christ's skin color, right? Because your feet is the same color as the rest of your body, right? Christ's skin color was as fine brass, right? That was burned in a furnace. Right? Brass is already brown. Right? I can pull up a picture of brass right here. So like it's this brass right here. Brass is already brown. I said brass that was burned in a furnace. I pulled up another picture through the spirit, man. This is brass burned in a furnace, right? So this is closer. This is the skin color of Christ, right? This type of skin color, right? Because it says that and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, right? And his voice as the sound of many waters, right? So, AKA, he was a very loud man. He was not a soft-spoken dude, right? Christ was very loud, right? We're gonna go through this again through the spirit, right? His head and his hairs were white like wool. We gotta think to ourselves, man. Which people have hair like wool? Which people have hair that's thick and curly? And the 4C. I want to pull up a picture, right? 4C, right? Hey, this type of hair is thick and curly, right? Is this lady a Chinese person? Is she an Arab? No, this is a so-called black woman, so-called, right? She's really a Israelite, most likely from the tribe of Judah, right? Thick and curly hair, right? This is the type of hair that Christ had, right? Except for it was white, right? Let's get back to it, right? His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, right? So Christ had his hair was white as snow, man. He was very stressed out, right? So based off of Revelation 1 verse 14, right, this would be a good description of Christ pertaining to his hair, right? We see it thick and curly like wool, and we also see that it's white, right, pursuant to Revelation 1 verse 14, right? And his eyes were as a flame of fire. Right, we can go back to this picture. Right, so like in the eyes, you can't really see them, right, but I'm sure that they're red as fire. All right, verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass, right? So we know brass is a derivative of brown. So Christ is already brown, right? We see, based on Revelation 1 verse 14, this would be a pretty accurate picture because we see Christ's skin color is brown, right? As if they burned in a furnace. So Christ was a so-called dark-skinned man, right? So it said Christ looked like he was burned in a furnace. That's what his skin looked like. It looked like brass that was burned in a furnace. And of course, anything that you put in a furnace, you put in a fire, you maybe overcook something. Of course, it's going to get darker and darker, right? You leave cookies in the oven, they turn out black. You leave the turkey sausage too long on the grill, now it's kind of charred up black. You leave this hamburger too long on the grill, it's charred up black, right? So, as we know, right? And everything is put in the fire, everything's put in a furnace, right? It just gets darker, right? And his voice as the sound of many waters, right? So Christ was a very loud man, right? So according to the description of Revelation 1 verse 14, right, this would be a pretty good description of Christ, right? Has the hair like wool, white like wool, right? Skin like bronze burning in the furnace, right? So that this is one description of Christ, right? This is the most popular one that brothers and sisters like to go to, right? Revelation 1 verse 14 on down. Right? We're gonna get another description of Christ, right? This is I'm gonna get it right here instead. Salakia, and Daniel 10, right? This is Daniel chapter 10 verse 6. His body also was like the beryl. Right, we got to see why it says that, right? It says his body, because earlier it said his body was like, it said his skin, his feet were like brass that was burned into a furnace. So why is it now saying his body was also like the barrel? Right, first we got to understand what barrel is, right? See the images, right? So a barrel, it is a green type of gemstone, right? This is a pretty decent picture. This is a pretty decent picture. Right? It's a green type of gemstone. Is this saying his that Christ's body, his physical skin is green? No, it's talking about his garment. Right? We're going to read further down and it's going to explain it. Right? His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his feet. So like it, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. So this is again Christ, Jesus Christ, described as having skin, the skin color, all right, the skin on his arms and his feet like it's a polished brass. All right, we already showed the picture of brass is obviously brown, right? So Christ, Jesus Christ, according to the Bible, is a brown man. He's a so-called black man, right? We read earlier how his hair was like wool, right, which is thick and curly, right, which you only see on so-called Negroes, right, so-called, right, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude, right? So we know it's talking about Christ. He has that loud voice, right? So in the Bible, Christ is described as being a so-called black man, right, with woolly hair. That's the description of Christ. All right, I like this picture right here. This is a good picture through the Spirit of what Christ, look like. These are just pictures, right? But they're based off of the scriptures, right? As closely as possible. We don't know if Christ is rocking braids, Christ is rocking the afro, Christ had weight. We don't know that, and frankly, that doesn't matter, right? What we do know is that he had hair white like wool, right? And he had skin that was burnt, that was still like skin like brass that was burned in a furnace, right? Lord willing, this is all making sense, man. Right, Lord willing. Well, I'm gonna get John 8. Right, this is very important, man, because I know me growing up all of my life when I was in the world, I always thought Jesus Christ was a so-called white man. Right, Lord willing, we're gonna break down why our people think that, break down where they came from, because we see it's really clear within the Bible. We have two sets of proof, one in the quote unquote Old Testament, one in the quote unquote New Testament of the physical description of Christ. Right, so there shouldn't be any confusion. Right, Lord willing, we're gonna explain, most are willing, why why the image is what it is now. Right, this is John chapter 8 verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And so the truth, that's what's going to set us free, man. And knowing that Jesus Christ, so called, is a so-called black man, according to the scriptures, hey, that should set you free, man. Knowing that we're not just niggas, right? Knowing that the white man is a God, he's oppressing you on earth, and you look up and he's also God, man. That's not the truth, right? So Jesus Christ was a so-called black man according to the Bible, according to the scriptures, man. And Lord willing, that made sense, right? Right. So this is the teaser images, which according to the scriptures are accurate, right? These images, Salakia, you know, these are accurate images, right? But hey, we know, right? We know. You search up Jesus Christ now, and this is what you're gonna get, right? This is what you're gonna get. I'm gonna just, hey, let's just search it up. Jesus Christ, right? Search up Jesus Christ images. This is who you're gonna get, man. So we have to ask ourselves, why did this happen, man? Why is he a so-called white man? Why does he look effeminate, right? Why does he look like this? Why did this happen, right? And a everything is based off of the precepts. You can go to the precepts for everything, right? That's how we get understanding. It's through the precepts, right? This is First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. We're going to see why this image is what it is now. When we obviously read in the Bible that Jesus Christ is a so-called black man with skin like bronze, burned in the furnace, and hair like wool, right? This is First Maccabees 3, verse 48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So the heathen, the so-called white man, opened up the book of the law, aka the Bible, right? And they painted their images, right, in our Bible. Right, that's what they did. They tore out all the so-called black men and women pictures that were in our Bibles and painted the so-called white man, painted themselves. And that's why we have this image. Right? That's the sole reason why we have this image. Right? Let's go to Job. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. When we ask ourselves what nation runs this earth, it should be very plain, right? It's the so-called white man. The United States is the top powerhouse. Russia is up there, right? You have the EU, you have NATO, right? These are the people that's pushing forth the policy that, hey, that the Most High gave the earth for the short amount of time. And the Most High calls them the wicked, right? Since they cover the faces of just of like the judges. Right? Who was the chief judge? Jesus Christ, aka Yahweh Shai. He is the chief judge. So what are they going to do? They're going to cover his face, right? They're going to make it seem like they're Jesus and that they're God and that they're the holy men when they're not, right? They're a seed of falsehood, a seed of lies. And this image is an image of falsehoods, deception, and the main image. This is an image of white supremacy, right? You know, your grandma kind of has it in her Bible, the NIV version, a big picture with baby Jesus, right? Or no, not even baby. She got it, the picture in the front of the house with baby Jesus, and then on her NIV Bible, she has a picture of Jesus with a lamb, right? This is the biggest image of white supremacy ever, right? This is one of the worst images. This image is one of the worst images. And this image puts us to slavery, our people, man. It kept us to slavery and still keeps us in slavery to this day, right? This is Psalms chapter 7, verse 14. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and have conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. And so the wicked man of the earth, aka the so-called white man, aka Esau, right? Hey, they conceive mischief, man, and bring forth falsehood. Because this image is nothing but a falsehood. We read in the Bible the description of Christ, and it never said Christ is a white man. Never says Christ has skin that's pale and hair that looks like a dog, right? And a scraggly beard, right? That's not what the Bible says. So this is an image of falsehood, right? Hey, we got to understand where this image comes from, though, right? I'm gonna go to Wisdom of Solomon, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 14. Wisdom of Solomon 14, verse 15. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honoreth him as a God, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him, ceremonies and sacrifices. I'm going to show how this image, we're going to show how this precept through the Spirit applies to this image, right? So this image is based off of a man named Caesar Borgia, right? Caesar Borgia, right? You have a few different pronunciations, right? But that's what I'm fronting with. Caesar Borgia, right? That's who this image is based off of, right? We'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. All praises, right? He's the second son of Pope Alexander the Sixth of Rome. Right? It was a Spanish Italian homosexual cardinal who resigned his church office to become a military commander, powerful lord, and a leading figure in the politics of his era. So he was a homosexual, man. The son of the Pope of Rome was a homosexual. Right? This is the man who Jesus Christ, the modern day image of Jesus Christ. This is who this picture is based off of. Right? You can see the similarities. Right? So he gained a reputation. So he gained a reputation at the papal court for his womanizing, lavish clothes, and hunting parties. Man, this man was a freak, right? Caesar was a man of scientific rather than artistic interest, and he briefly employed Leonardo da Vinci as military architect and engineer. Right, him and Leonardo da Vinci had an affair, right? And Leonardo da Vinci was the one painting these portraits, right, in the beginning, right? According to the French writer Alexandre Dumas, Cesare Borgia's likeness was used as the model for the long blonde hair, blue-eyed, effeminate-looking Christ, which Christians the world over have been bowing down to and worshiping for centuries. Man, that's all. His handsome appearance influenced many images of Jesus Christ painted during and subsequent to his career. Right, so and these had these images painted subsequent to his career. Right, why? Under the authority of his father, Pope Alexander, to magnify his son. Right, it was during the Renaissance period, after contact was made with Africa, that the Dark Ages in Europe came to an end, and paintings began to circulate portraying Mary and Jesus with white skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair. And that's absolute madness. Because really, when you dive into the history, right, Pope Alexander, he wanted to be God, right? And he wanted his son to be portrayed as Christ. So therefore, he paid artists like Leonardo da Vinci and other artists that actually had a competition, right? Who can get this man known as Christ the fastest? Right? We see now this is nothing but idolatry. Right? And what this process is called? It's called iconoclasm, right? Iconoclasm. We're going to see what this the etymology, right? The etymology just means the meaning of the words, right? Or the philology, which means the love of languages, right? I want to break down what this word iconoclast, right? Or you can say iconoclasm, what this word means, right? It means a breaker or destroyer of images, right? Let's break it down through the spirit, right? From the Greek, right? Icon, right? Which meaning image. That's where you get the word icon from, iconic from this Greek word right here, meaning image, right? Plus clastis, which means breaker. So this word literally means image breaker. Icono meaning image, class meaning breaker, right? Image breaker, right? So during the time of iconoclast, I'm going to get a description, right? Uh, yeah, right here. Following the accession of Edward the Sixth, if I'm not mistaken, royal injunctions ordered the removal of all images from English churches. In 1548, iconoclasm reached a fervent pitch during Edward's reign. Let's go into this word fabric means, man. It means a lot, man. It was getting heavy, right? Con, a dangerously high temperature, man. So it was having a lot, man. Iconoclasm, the practice of destroying and breaking images, right, was happening a lot during this time period, man. Let's pull some pictures. This right here is a good picture. You see, all of the faces are blocked out, man. All of the faces. And really, when you deal with it, man, this type of beards, man, hey, these people, hey, these may have been so quote unquote Negroes, right? That's how they may have been portrayed in these images, right? You see their faces knocked off, right, cut off, right? So A, it was at a favored, which means it just means high. It means it happened a lot during Edward's reign, resulting in the defacement of baptism fonts, the destruction of stained glass windows, the whitewashing of pictorial depictions on walls. So you had whitewashing during iconoclasm, right? Whitewashing basically means, right, you see things that are supposed to be quote unquote black, and you start washing them off and making them so-called white men. You see Christ in the Bible is clearly described as being a so-called black man. You see the hundreds and thousands of images of Christ being painted as a so-called black man, and next thing you know, you kind of you then whitewashing. Right now, you started painting white over the images. Now you got Pope Alexander, right, magnifying his son, his wicked son, Cesare Borgia, and set him up as Jesus Christ during the iconoclasm period. Right, that's why you have this man right here. That's why this man. Let's just search up, right, versus Caesar Borgia or Cesare Borgia. All right, let's get a picture. It's right here. You can obviously see the similarities, right? That's very obvious, right? Let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon 14. Right, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 15. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honoreth him as a god. So a Pope Alexander, wicked Pope Alexander the Sixth, set his own son up as God. That's very wicked, right? Which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies of sacrifices, right? So this man says Caesar Borgia was set up as Jesus Christ, set up as the image of Jesus Christ, right? And the Lord's not dealing with that. Right, we're gonna get a few more verses and close out through the Spirit, man. Most I willing, this was edifying to the nation. All right, we're going to I'm gonna get second Esdras. All right, because this is not the image of Christ. Don't pray to this man. He's not hearing you, right? And I remember when this picture was popular. All right, I remember. Let me find it. Yeah, this is madness. Let me find it. All right, I remember when this image was this image right here. I remember when this image came out. Huh? I'm gonna see if they have a date. A day on this image, man. Oh, this is it. Oh, this is 2019. But I remember when this image came out. This was still when I was in the world. This was when I was in probably like ninth grade. Hey, I remember I saw this, man, and I was still in the world, right? Hey, that was kind of my background. Not kind of that. This was my screensaver. This image right here was my screensaver, right? Hey, I was so excited. You know, this is before I was even in the truth, before I knew what was going on fully. I was so excited to learn that Jesus Christ wasn't a so-called white man who has been oppressing and raping and lynching and hunting down my people for thousands of years. I was so excited that these quote-unquote scientists say that this is a more accurate depiction, this was my background. And that was before I knew of what was going on, Right, but hey, this isn't how what Christ looked like. His skin isn't like brass, nor is it burned in a furnace, and his hair is a white like wool. So this image is off. Right, it's closer than this image, right? But it's not all the way there. It's not. Right. Let's see again. Right, a image that according to the Bible is what Jesus Christ looks like. Right, I like this one. Right, bronze, skin like brass, burned in the furnace, hair white like wool. That's white as snow. That's plain. Arms and feet like polished brass. That's plain. Right, and body like the barrel, aka he has a green garment. Right. This is Second Ezra chapter 5, verse number 6. And even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwelleth upon the earth. Right, hey, Yahweh Shai, the quote unquote black Messiah, hey, he's coming to rule, man. And this is not who Christians are waiting for. This is not who anybody is waiting for, right? Except for the men and women of the Lord, man. This is who we're looking for our salvation. Hey, the rest of the people, I don't know who they're looking for. Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, right? That's what they're looking for. White Jesus. We're looking for Yahweh Shai, the quote unquote black messiahs, to redeem us from our captivity, from our oppression, and from our turmoil. Right? Read it again. And even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwelleth upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together, man. Hey, so hey, they're not looking for the world is not looking for this man to crack the sky, to subdue the nations, and to come put things in order, right? But that's what's going to go down most high women, very, very soon, right? Get another verse we're going to close out through the Spirit, right? This is Sirach chapter 11, verse number 5. Many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown, man. And so Yahweh Shai, and he's going to take the crown, man. Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, he is going to take the crown. See that? Hey, that's spiritual, man. It kind of clicks the picture with the crown, man. He is going to take the crown. And this is one whom the world never thought to rule, man. I always think the white man is God, the white man is Jesus. The Chinese people think damn Buddha is Jesus, right? The Arabs think that Muhammad is their Jesus and their Savior. But according to the Bible, this is the man that is coming back to redeem the earth, man, to redeem the Israelites from our captivity, right? From our plight, from our affliction, from our mourning, from our servitude, man, and to put things in order. Hey, so most high women, man, this is edifying to the nation. But that I want to say La Allah Nawi Yahweh by Shema Mashek Yahushai. La Allah Nawi Kaya Shem Katababa. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And all praises to Yahweh by Shema Mashek Yahushai. Shalom, shalom, shalom.